What's up, everybody? My name's Cameron. I live in Eastern Kentucky, and today's mission is to get more firewood. This is my very first video on this new channel for firewood and my firewood adventures. But I've had a fishing channel for years, if you follow me from there. But it is a cold November morning. It's right after Thanksgiving today, and I am trying to get as much firewood as I can. It went from being in the 50s and 60s during the daytime to now it is like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and it's currently like 26 degrees. So today's mission, get firewood. I gotta get the pallets off the back of the truck that I picked up on the way home from Thanksgiving last night, lay them out here, and decide how I want to add to this wood pile. I've got my bundle wood for next year, but this is my wood I've been trying to stockpile for next year, but people keep buying it. Not a bad problem to have, but eventually I hope that I will be able to stockpile wood, maybe around 50-60 cords for sale of fall 2026. We'll see. But got a lot of work to do, and it's pretty cold, so let's get working. Let's get warm. Well, right after I eat my Thanksgiving leftovers. We're gonna hook up to my log splitter and head on out to the site once I get my saws and everything. All right, so I got my pallets off over there, log splitter's hooked up. I had to make sure there's a little fuel cutoff switch on the side for when you're towing it. But yeah, I got my saws on here, got my little steel and my 55 Rancher. I got a little ratchet strap over the this is the chainsaw mixed gas, raw gas for the splitter, bar and chain oil. And then everything else I need tool-wise, water-wise is up in the truck. So let's get out in the woods. So here we are, working on this oak here. Actually forgot my rope or my strap at the house, so I'm gonna see how I'm gonna deal with that, or if I'm even gonna deal with it at all. But I am gonna drop this log splitter so I can turn around. But I got several little wood piles to work on, treetops to work on, so I feel really good about the amount of wood I have just in this little vicinity here. As I work my way around this piece of property here, I was given permission to cut on. So let's get the saws juiced up and get the log splitter off the truck and get to work. So I know this wood's frozen, and that's a pretty good round log, so I'm going to start out with the 455 Rancher Husqvarna 20-inch bar. So I was able to feather that just right without digging my saw into the ground, and break it off by doing a little bench press action. That's on me for forgetting my little ratchet strap. So that was a good bit of cardio. But what I'm gonna do next is wipe off all this dirt, because I don't want my saw going through all that on the back cut. Let's get her done. Do the best I can here. Some of it will just have to go, and I'll have to sharpen the saw a little bit. That's what happens when you deal with logs that are on the ground. Now, I consider myself to be in fairly good shape, but I'm also 40. I do lift weights all the time. I love squat, deadlift, bench press. But when you're working with firewood, that's a squat or a deadlift, squat, deadlift. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and probably another 10 on that log. It gets old, and after a while it wears on you. So that's why I brought that. I'm gonna cut them in halves or quarters, throw them in the truck, get a good load. Probably leave the splitter here, come back for another load, and come out of here loaded down. I'm also gonna walk around, see what else we have to work with here. Ground's actually not soft at all back here. So generally treetops, especially something under pressure like that, you know, you need a truck or ideally a tractor or skidder to, you know, pull it off, get it off the pressure. But there are pieces of this I can touch. Ooh, that's hickory. Get some good limb wood out of that's not under pressure. You know, that right there, I could cut that whole lead off and buck it up really nice. I'll get that. Probably, so I'll take that first. Then I'll probably see how much pressure's on that. I'll start to cut that, hinge it, let it hinge over. And I'll take that. And yeah, it looks like that back lead I can get. That's where a lot of the pressure's at on that one's hung in those two trees there. And the big lead that's down on the bottom. I'm not gonna fool with that by myself. But I got my work cut out for me today. I completely forgot to put on my chaps. So luckily I only did about 5 minutes of cutting. But yeah, went against my own preachings and forgot my PPE this morning. Well, I'm taking a break. I shed some clothing, cooling down, rehydrating. Let's take a look at this hickory here. I'm glad it warmed up before I started cutting this, because hickory, frozen hickory, is very tough on a chain. But I cut a lot of the pressure off. A lot of that limb wood I'm going to stack for bundled wood for next year. But I got all that. Saw ran out of gas. But I cut all the pressure off this lead, so I'm getting ready to take this lead off right there. And then I'll see about that lead. It's still got a little pressure on it right there, so I can get the rest of all this right here. After that, I'm not fooling with it, not by myself. I've got myself in a couple pickles before by myself. Not happening, not doing that today. Not worth it, especially while there's other wood on the ground that I can get to pretty easily. But I couldn't just pass up this hickory over here, the stuff that I could get to. But let's head back up to the wood splitter. So like I said, each one of these is heavy. But you cut it in half or quarters, it's not as heavy. And it's not particularly seasoned wood. There's no way it could be seasoned. It's still a log form attached to the roots back there. So it's not as heavy as if it was completely green, but I still don't want to be lifting all that all day. So I'm going to get a little bit more water. I'm going to turn that thing up vertical, roll these over there, split them up, and throw them in there. That piece of plywood's there because this is a nicer truck, and I don't want to completely beat my bed to death, so I lay that in there, and I lay those two pieces there up on the sides to protect my lights and my 110 there, so I can protect my truck bed a little bit. That way I still have a nice truck at the end of the day, for now. So you might have noticed I changed my toboggan. It's always good to carry 2 hats, 2 pairs of gloves. When they get sweaty or wet, you can let them dry out, switch into the dry ones. Let's get this log splitter. Let's get this log splitter set up and cut some of this wood and load it. I should have set it up going the other way, but it's so muddy here, it's so hard to turn this machine. I probably won't move it until I get the truck hooked up to it. I just hit the mother load of these little insects here, these ants. Wow. They were all in that one piece. And this one right up here. Wow. That's wild. I might be burning that in my fire pit sooner than later. I might get rid of as many of these as I can so I don't take them back. Loading that right there was so much easier than loading it the complete round. Look at this though. That one little piece had all these freaking ants in there. That's wild. Now let's get the rest of this hickory that we cut up and get out of here for a little bit. That is really good firewood right there, that hickory. But it also makes really good tool handles. It's so strong. All right, so that's not all of it. That's quite a bit of it. I think there's some maple I'm gonna grab on the way out of here, but I'm gonna hook up the log splitter and head back. I got a customer, a potential customer, that's wanting to look at some logs that have been down like 3 or 4 years. So I put out an ad saying, hey, is there any interest in punky wood, heartwood? It's kind of still there, but you know, it's mostly punky on the outside, but I'd hate to see it waste. And I had a couple people reach out, so I'm gonna make a little video for them, send it to them, see how it turns out on the way out of here. But there it is, oak and hickory. All right, y'all, so there you have it. That's a decent little load of oak and hickory. I don't like putting too much on just because it's more, that's greener wood. And there's no sense, since I have all the time in the world to come out here to break my truck down. I don't have to get it out of here in a hurry. So I'm gonna get this wood back to the house. Stick around for the next episode where we're gonna unload this, process it, and get it over on the pallets. I wanna show you my little wood yard I'm making as I go. Obviously, the end result that I want, the end goal, is to have a full-fledged palletized wood yard with a tractor and a dump trailer. But hey, you know, everybody's got to start somewhere, and for me, I love being out here doing this, so it's not really work for me. This is more like fun. I honestly like this almost as much as I like fishing, which brings me in my next point. I have a fishing channel. I've had it for about 8 or 9 years. Catfish, snook, sharks, bass, muskie, everything. Go over there and check it out. It's the Salty Googan. Sorry, I feel like my nose is running here. I'm sitting here eyeballing my next target. Once this dries up, I'll be over on that pipeline getting more wood. But check that out as well, and stay tuned for the next video, and hit that subscribe button on your way out, because this is all I'm going to be doing till the day I die. See y'all.